Glancing at the corridor that led to the bedroom, I sluggishly trudged to the front door. Not expecting anything good, I also didn't expect anything bad. Nothing noteworthy had happened lately. I went to the door and opened it. I was stunned. There she stood. Well, vaguely, the one I remembered so well. I'm afraid my mouth was wide open as she rushed past me into my apartment. The apartment that she left about 3 months ago, leaving me at the same time. I was still stunned as I watched her survey the slightly changed interior of my home with a critical and slightly annoyed expression on her face. I looked from her to the plates on the table, back to the corridor, and back to her. Well, that has to change. Obviously, it's time for me to go back and take matters into my own hands again. By the way, close the door, please. What? That was all I could think of to say. Closing the door actually seemed like a good idea, come to think of it, with the overly nosy neighbors in mind. With my mind empty, I watched as she looked around, studying her former territory in detail. Oh my God, did you choose these pillows? What? Okay, my answers weren't too impressive, but what could she expect? This whole situation was not only surprising, it was strange. Did you do any cleaning at all while I was gone? I looked around. The apartment was not dirty. I just lived in it. The anal cleanser no longer lived there, so I no longer had to live in a cold, antiseptic house. My luggage is in the car. We can pick it up later. My brain was barely working, but it was clear that she was acting in her usual confident manner, which was inappropriate given the situation. Your hair, I began. Well, I finally said something. Yes, I know. They will grow back in no time. Her hair had always fascinated me to no end. I was a little shocked to see her with a stylish but very short haircut. Obviously, she was no longer my woman, but it still hurt to see her without one of her most attractive features. It just wasn't right. A crying shame, that's what it was. This will take at least 5 years, I said, finally returning to full phrases. We have plenty of time, dear. What? And what did she just call me? Expensive, yes, I know, you don't have to mention it. Tui. I was acting so strange for a while, but now I'm back. Everything will be fine. She smiled sweetly at me as if she wanted to calm a child down. Seriously? And that was her apology? Yeah, baby. To my horror, she came closer to me and looked like she wanted to kiss me. Who was this woman? And was she completely out of her mind? She must have read my expression correctly because she stopped and looked at me a little surprised. I know you always liked my hair, but I felt that I needed to change something in my life. Yes, I noticed it. What? Oh no, I was just talking about my hair. Other than that, I want my life to go back to where it was. This obviously applies to you too, in case you didn't notice. She had the nerve to wink at me. So Tom had no say in your new hairstyle? She winced slightly. Tom is forever in the past. Wow, the new love in her life didn't last long. So what? What? So Tom had no say in your new hairstyle? Why do you always talk about him? He was fired and blacklisted when Parker's contract went missing. He is destroyed. He is in the past. He was a mistake, and I left him. I nodded. I heard about some of his professional failures. Yes, just like you left me. I know, but now I'm back for good. It's going to be so good. I just know it, baby. My gaze moved back to her. So Tom had no say in your new hairstyle. She seemed a little indignant at my persistence, but probably realized that she could not avoid answering. Cruel or not, she wasn't the type to lie. Perhaps he was for it. So it was his idea, maybe. I don't remember. What does it matter now? He marked you. Maybe for me, maybe not. But he definitely marked you, darling. It doesn't matter at all. Her voice was unusually soft, short hair, friendly voice, almost apologetic, maybe even a little unsure. Now standing in front of me was some new version of my ex. She seemed to gather her courage and suddenly began fiddling with the strap of her dress. What is she doing? She stopped working on her wardrobe, apparently having come up with some idea, and took her phone out of her purse. She fiddled with it for a while, and then my speakers obeyed her will, turning on one of her playlists. Of course, she still had full access to everything after living here for many years. And I was too dumb to change any passwords. I was probably in a daze. I observed her strange behavior without commenting. With music playing in the background, she started dancing. Well, if you can call what she did dancing. She was never really into dancing and avoided it whenever possible. It said a lot about her determination that she tried to do it here. To my utter amazement, I realized that her strange movements could only be interpreted as an attempt to perform some kind of striptease. Really? This woman has always been a little reserved, refusing to openly demonstrate her sexuality. She hated any display of sexual behavior, which she always called sexist. Add to this her complete inability to adequately move to any music. The fact that she was about to take her clothes off for me told me a lot about the desperation she obviously felt, but didn't want to talk about, and which for some reason didn't result in any kind of apology. The striptease itself was mildly amusing. I have always appreciated her sharp wit, humor, and her personality. Her body was not meant to be the center of attention, and I never needed it to be. The problem was that her body was definitely unsuitable for striptease. She was a little broad and muscular, completely lacking in elegance. Her movements were jerky and clumsy. It was all awkward, and I had to try not to offend her by laughing. I mean, it would have been perfectly within my rights to hurt her after what she did to me, but that was not my behavior. It was a difficult situation for both of us, and I tried to make it a little easier by at least showing interest in what she was doing. Her actions had no effect on the distribution of blood in the lower part of my body. My interest was piqued when she showed off one of her small breasts, smiling mischievously at me. I saw something shiny and walked towards her to get a better look. Holy cow! Her nipple was pierced. How did this bastard manage to get her to do this? She always prided herself on being an independent, free woman with no nonsense. She would cut off my dick just for suggesting something as sexist as this. Luckily, my reproductive organ was never in any real danger since I didn't like piercings anyway. It often just looks cheap and somehow stains a woman's breasts, as in this case. "Do you like it?" she asked, smiling shyly. "Let me guess, his proposal again? Come on, why is this so important?" She tried to pout, but she was so unaccustomed to it that she failed completely. Her evasive answer told me that I had hit the nail on the head. I just wanted to know. She tried unsuccessfully to smile seductively and continued her strangely unnatural and almost pathetic way of getting rid of clothes. As her unusually sexy panties came into view, something strange caught my attention. It looked like some kind of stain on the skin. I moved closer to her, examining the place with a strange, detached interest. It looked like a letter peeking out of her underwear. Yes, it was M. Strange, and then it dawned on me. That was the end of the Tom tattoo. He made her tattoo his name on her pubic area. Incredible. This guy was out of my league to get what he wanted from her. Let me guess, he's the one who dumped you, right? Okay, I know. I had completely ruined the last vestiges of any erotic mood that might have been present. I wasn't in that mood anyway, and somehow I doubted she was either. Her reaction was a complete surprise. What? It was nice not to be the only one who was confused. Think about it. He seduced you and took you away from me. He convinced you to coldly abandon me and insult me in his presence. He made you cut your hair because he knew I liked long hair. He marked you with a piercing. He marked you with a tattoo of his name on your pubic area. Then he dumps you and sends you back to me. Perhaps it was never about you. I think he just wanted to beat me. If I take you back, everything will remind me of what he did for a very long time, perhaps forever. Tom and I have hated each other since elementary school. The best outcome for him would be if I took you back and was constantly aware that he was able to take and mark my woman forever. Cute. To my surprise, she was close to tears. Surprisingly, I have rarely seen her so emotional. I don't think I've ever seen her cry. Endearments such as darling were also unheard of until today. Why didn't you even bother to remove that damn tattoo before you came back? Now she actually looked a little remorseful, which was also quite unusual. I thought about that. The problem is the color he selected. It's quite difficult to remove, and I'm afraid there will be scars. This is a really sensitive area. It would seriously interfere with any sexual pleasure if there were scars there. She was worried about her own sexual experience? Wasn't she thinking about how the sight of this tattoo would affect my sexuality? You are pregnant. Shocked. She was completely shocked. Then the tears started. How do you know? I did not know that. I was just thinking about what else he could do to us. The ultimate defeat would be to force me to raise his child. So let me guess. After you confirmed that he knocked you up, he immediately left you? She simply nodded, continuing to sob. God, I wish I had turned down that damn promotion and let him get it. He wouldn't have to use you for revenge. You might not have cheated on me. Perhaps you wouldn't have left me for him. On the other hand, if he could take you away from me so easily, there wasn't that much love between us anyway, right? It was the harsh truth. We never had the kind of passionate, burning love that you read about. But we loved each other very much, and we loved living together. We were like super best friends with benefits. Tom was an exceptionally handsome man, but I believed that if we truly loved each other, he would never be able to seduce her. I don't know, she managed to choke out between sobs. But I know that I would really like to go back to where we were, really, please. Well, I think you could remove that piercing pretty easily. She nodded almost furiously. And I think your hair will grow back eventually. Nods again. The tattoo can probably be removed with a laser. She even began to smile, continuing to nod. The child is a problem. It should be your decision. I will solve this issue. Her mood completely changed. Now she was almost euphoric. I won't interfere in this, so I think all traces of it on your body can be removed. Yes, they will be deleted. The problem is, the traces in my mind. What? You left me in cold blood for him. You allowed him to do to you what you always refused to do to me. I always wanted to have children, but you told me you weren't ready. For him, you didn't hesitate at all. If I suggested you change your body like a porn star, I would painfully and instantly turn into a soprano. For him, you didn't hesitate, and I didn't even ask what you did for him in the bedroom. Oh, right. Oh. I think he did us a favor. What? He cruelly demonstrated how weak our relationship was. He showed us how much stronger your feelings are for him than for me. He showed us that we just carried on because we were used to it, too afraid or comfortable to change anything. And let's be honest, if our old relationship was so weak, what chance will the new one have? Well, maybe. She looked sad, but collected and resigned to her fate. Meanwhile, she started getting dressed again, and I was glad to see it. It made the situation less awkward. Talking about something serious with an almost naked person somehow feels wrong. I'm sorry. Well, that's what I said. The magic word that I have never heard from her since she left me. It was strange and telling that I was the one to say it, even though I was the offended party. I suddenly realized that she was simply too weak to apologize, as if she was too weak to resist him and too weak to save us. It didn't matter. We were better off without each other. Thank you. Once again, I said what she had to say, and I really meant it. With today's visit, she finally removed all the ballast from our old relationship that I carried with me. No, dear, I should thank you for listening to me, for giving me those wonderful years that we had. I am so sorry. Ironically, the very last word she said to me was the one I had been waiting for so long. With these words, she lightly pecked me on the cheek, which surprisingly did not touch me, and headed towards the door to leave my apartment and my life. It was nice. Honey, what's that noise? Asked the sleepy, long-haired beauty who came out of the bedroom. Nothing. Just someone I once knew, my love, I replied just after the door had closed. I didn't want my ex to see this before she left my life forever. My rule has always been not to kick someone who is down. Do you think we can visit my parents this weekend? I would really like you to meet them. Your parents? Yes, of course. I will be happy to meet them. This thought actually made me very happy. I placed my coffee cup on Parker's folded and heavily stained contract and followed the enchanting rustle of that long hair into the bedroom to start the morning off properly. What's your opinion about OP? Thanks for joining us in our stories where revenge is served hot. Please consider subscribing to our channel to ensure your next chef remains loyal. Tune in for the next one to get your revenge appetite fulfilled. If you're below 18, hold on. It's not for the faint-hearted.